This is the second part of our Scott Buster series, and in this episode, we are going to add character animations and speed boost and some VFX. Right, this is where we left last time. We made four squad members. So in this time, I'm gonna give them a model, actually a 3D character. So let's say for the first capsule, I'll create a barbarian like this. So we have four models ready. We can disable the capsule mesh renderer here. We won't be needing it. Now for our 3D characters, let's add an animator in them, and I already have an animator ready. I'll drop it here, and it's a simple animator. By default, it will be on idle state, and then it will go to walking state if the walking boolean is true, and then it will go to the attacking state in case the attack is true. So now you can see we have four models, but we want them to look towards the position that our squad is moving, like the player controller is moving. So what I'll do is I'll first go to the player controller script. What we want is we want this vector3 inside our squad controller script. So first thing, let's make a public vector3 and let's call it move value like this, and it's public because we want to access it in another script. Over here, let's do move value equals to this vector3 right here, and we can remove the speed from this for now because we only want that in the controller.move. So over here we can do move value into speed, and now we can use this move value in our squad controller script. So over here, first thing we need to make an else if, another else if, and it will check just for the moving part whether the player controller is moving or not. In case the player controller is moving, we want our player controller to look towards the movement direction. So let's do target rotation equals to quaternion dot look rotation, and first thing we'll do is we'll get the transforms position. We'll add the player controller dot move value to it, and we'll then again subtract our transforms position for this to work. Okay, now that we have our target rotation, what we want next is we want to look towards it smoothly. We want that to happen smoothly. So what we want is we want to rotate our squad member. So we'll do transform.rotation equals to quaternion.slurp. In the slurp, the first value will be our transform.rotation itself. Our second value will be our target rotation, and then we can multiply it with some speed value and time.delta time to make it smoother. All right, now that is done, we can proceed and check whether our squad members are looking towards the movement direction or not. Okay, that looks so much better, and they're doing it very smoothly. Now the next thing we don't want all of these to go so close to the chest because some of them are archers, some of them are mage, and they can attack from a farther range. So what we'll do for that is we are in our squad controller script right now, and I'll create a serialized field. I'll call it a float range. So this range will determine how far our squad member should be from the target. This value here is checking how far we have to stop from the target point. So this value is fine for a melee attack because like a barbarian or a knight, it's fine for them, but not that good for a archer or a mage. Now that we have made it serialized, we can change this value in our inspector for different characters. Like right now we have barbarian, knight, mage, and Raj. For the mage and Raj, I'm gonna make the range to be 5. And now if we'll test it, you can see they have stopped a lot farther from the target. But if they're already in the close to the target in this radius, the 5 value that we just set, so in that case they're not even rotating towards the target. Like you can see both of these characters here. But if they're far, they do rotate and look towards the target. So we can simply fix this. What we want is instead of an and here, we can remove this and the second part of this if statement we can copy it and remove it all together from here, and we can add it over here. So we don't want our character to move, but we do want our squad member to look towards the target point if there is any target point. Okay, now we can try it out. Yeah, so they're looking towards the target point now and moving towards it as well if it's necessary. Now inside our script, let's create an enum. Outside the class, we can do public enum. I'm doing this in squad controller, but you can do it in any other script as well. Let's call it squad state. And there will be 3 states right now. First one will be idle, second one will be walking, and the third one will be attack. Okay, now we can make a state, a local variable state here. Let's call it, it's called state, and yeah. So we have the state, it will save on which state our character is right now. So if we are here, then our character is obviously walking because we are checking if moving is true. So we can do scott state equals to scott state dot walking. Here as well, we are moving our character, so it will be walking, but over here we are actually attacking. So we want it to be attack, and in the else statement, I'll say idle, because if we are not walking or attacking, we are obviously on the idle state. Now I'm going to create a new function. I'll name it void update animation. So in the update, also want a reference to our animator. Instead of making it serialized, I'll just its access in the start function. Let's call it animator. In the start itself, I can do animator equals to get component in children. Type would be animator. Because if you'll see in my hierarchy here, inside Barbarian, this animator is in the children of the script. Our script is in the parent object, the Scott controller. Yeah, so now that we have our animator, what we can do is animator dot set bool, and I can set the bool based on our Scott state. If our Scott state is equals to Scott state dot walking, first of all, of course, we need to say give the name of the boolean which we want to update in the animator. It's walking. If it's equals to walking, then it will be true, else it will be false. Same thing I'm gonna do with attack. So I'll call this attack. In case both of them will be false, then our idle animation will play. We can call this update animation over here in the update function itself. Now that that is done, let's test it out. Okay, so our walk animation is playing. Once we stop, our idle animation gets triggered, and our attack animation is also getting triggered. Okay, that looks so much better. Okay, so our attack animation is playing a little bit faster, a little bit before than it should be, because we are walking over here. Like you can see, we are walking towards the target first, but if we are not walking towards the target, only in that case we want the attack state to get triggered. So I've added an else. We don't need these parentheses. Yeah, now our attack state should get triggered at the right moment. I've updated some assets, and this is how it looks right now. There's a different effect when you're trying to attack. There's this border that changes, and then there's a separate animation that plays when you're in an idle state. So that's exactly what we're gonna do now. So inside our player controller script, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a serialized field for a game object. This will be our normal effect. This effect will play in the area in which the player can attack, but this will be when player will be in idle state or walking state. And the second one will be for attack effect. So we can enable and disable, basically we can toggle these two effects. So for that I'll make a new function, and I'm doing this in player controller right now. So let's make a new function, and yes, we'll have to give the reference to these two. Let's name this function toggle attack effect. In here I can take a boolean, let's name it toggle for now, and here we have to enable and disable these effects. So let's say attack effect dot set active, and it will be, we'll give toggle boolean here. And for the normal effect, we'll do the same, but we want to disable it when we are enabling the attack effect. So I have done not toggle. Now I can simply call this function. So in case we are moving, actually we are making the moving boolean false. So here we can check our target points. If our target points dot count is greater than 0, that means there is a target. In that case we can make it true, right? And this is only going to get called once. What if a target appears, like an enemy appears later on? So it's better to do it outside here. And in the else statement, okay, here we also have to check that moving equals to false. We only want to do this if we are not moving our character. And in the else, we can do toggle attack effect false. Actually, let's make it else if, and in the else if we can see if the normal effect dot active in hierarchy. I mean, it's if it's not active in hierarchy, so we're gonna use this exclamation, and we can make it false like this. So this should toggle our effect for both the range borders. Give the reference. So for the normal effect, I'll give this blue ring reference and the red circle reference here. Now if I'll play, yeah, so there's a red effect playing. Okay, the animation is playing on a delay. I'll just fix it in a minute. But as you can see, like if I'm standing idly and there is no target here, then the effect is not playing. But if there is a target, then this effect gets played. So that's exactly what we wanted. Okay, so I also made a screen space canvas and added a boost button in it, like you can see here. So we want to boost the speed of our players when we hold this button. So for that, let me open the player controller script first. In a player controller, I'm going to make a public boolean and I'll name it boost. So this boost will be making it true from that button. So let's make void boost toggle. In here, I'll take a value, let's say bool value. Boost value will be equal to this value. Okay, now that we are toggling this boolean, let's also make a public float, and this will be our boost multiplier. For now, I'll make it 1.5f, and we'll multiply this boost multiplier with our speed if the boost boolean is true. So in here you can see we are moving our player, so we can do speed multiplied by boost. If boost boolean is true, only then we want to multiply it by boost multiplier, or else we'll just make it 1f and also add them inside a bracket like this. So anything multiplied with 1 will retain the same value. So if I'll try it, first let's give that function reference. So in boost button, you can see I have added an event trigger component. You can go to add components and search for event trigger. In there, you can add a new event type. Like I've already added pointer down and pointer up. Like you can add a pointer exit, like pointer enter I've added here. Let me remove that, we don't need it right now. So here I'll add a new function for our players. It will be, okay, I have to make this function public first, the boost toggle function. So let's go back here. So inside our player controller, you can see there's a boost toggle. We want to make it true when the pointer is down, and we want to make it false when it's up, when we are not holding the button. So if I try it now, okay, I'm walking normally, and when I increase, my speed increases. Okay, that's great. But we also want the same thing to happen for our squad members, because if we don't do it, they will be left behind when they're attacking a target. So in here we can do, when our squad member is walking towards the player component, at that time we can first check player controller dot boost. If boost is true, then we'll take player controller dot boost multiplier, or else it will be 1f. If we are attacking a target and I hold on boost, okay, they're able to come back to the target. Okay, this looks so much better now that we are able to boost our speed. When our squad member is walking, there's a dust coming from their feet. So let's give the reference. It's a particle effect, sorry, particle system. So I'll give a reference to it. I'll call it dust particle. I want to enable this particle when we are boosting our speed. So I'll make a new function first. I'll call it void update effects. I'll call this update effects inside the update function itself. And over here we want to check if our player controller dot moving is true, and our player controller dot boost is also true. You can also make an else function, sorry, else condition. Let's call it an else if, and here we can see if our dust particle is playing. So if it is playing, we want to make it, we want to stop it actually like this. But we want to play it if we are moving and we are boosting our speed. So this should work fine. In here, we have to first give the reference to our dust particles. Okay, like this, you can give the reference. Now if we'll try it out, you can see I'm walking simply, but as soon I'll click the boost multiplier. Actually over here, we can also do if not dust particle dot is playing. You can see only few particles are coming now. If I'll hold the boost button, and if I'm attacking something, if I walk again. Okay, that's the end of the video. Thank you for watching.